Greetings, welcome back to Pink Oddbird. As you can see, today is Fabric Day, and I'm going to try and get all of this fabric stored away. I've pulled out everything that I have, and I am working with a space constraint in my craft space, so I want to try and get this organized in a way that works best for me, and I would like to invite you to join me. So let's go ahead and get started. So just like with our laces, we're going to categorize our fabrics by small, medium, large, and we have a new pile this time around, and it's called E for excessive. I know. It's hard to part with things, especially fabrics that we really love, but it's a good opportunity for you to be honest with how much you have and how much you're willing to part with. So a lot of my fabrics were really misplaced, and I am, like I said, working with limitations on my space. So for the most part, I'm going to get these all organized into small, medium, and large. And you might not realize it yet, but having these organized in small, medium, large piles is going to make it so easy for you when you need to go directly to something. For example, if you need to make something with a small piece of fabric, you know where to go. If you need to make a book cover or anything larger, you know that you need to go to your medium or large piles, and then you can look through and find your categories from there. So it really will prove to be a useful way to have these stored. So what I'm trying to show you here with this black fabric, this is a large piece, and as you can see, it goes off the frame. It's it's about a yard, I think. And this piece here, it's a 12 by 12. So this is a piece that I could use to very easily cover a book with. Another piece here, I would also classify this as a medium piece because you could cover maybe like a large book and a small one. And then this fabric here is a small scrap, and we're talking maybe like 8 by 8 here on this piece. In your stash, you might have garment pieces like this. This one here was like a skirt. It had leggings, I think, even. I had already cut the leggings off, but since I'm trying to condense and conserve space with my fabrics, I want to kind of take the bulk out of this. So I already know that I don't want this shiny piece of fabric, but I would like to keep the tulle and obviously the galaxy fabric. So next I'm just gonna trim off the elastic band and get rid of that, and then I'll have nice flat pieces of fabric that I can store away easily. Since we're taking this time to go through our fabric, I think it would also be a good idea to take out your notes or idea book and make an I'm gonna do list. And when you're going through your fabrics, if you're like me, you have something in mind when you pick your fabrics, it'd be good to write them down on your I'm gonna do list. So my bin is all emptied out, and I've got all my piles separated, and we're gonna start with the large pile first. I want to separate out all of my black fabrics because I use those a lot, and so I want them to go on top. Next, I have a few pieces like this that have more fabric on it than I know that I'm going to need or use. So what I'm going to do here is just trim off some of the excess fabric, and this is going to reduce the bulk for when I get these all stored back away. And I'm also categorizing here, so I'm taking out like fabrics and grouping them together. So here I have my velvet fabrics. Of course, we want to make sure that we hang on to all of our essentials like burlaps, muslins, cheesecloth, etc. And as you can see, it's packing up nicely, and I have my blacks set off to the side. This piece is going in the excess pile, and now we're going to move into my floral fabrics. Now, since I have a lot of these floral fabrics, what I decided to do was pile them up together and set them aside because I wanted to get some of these used right away because there are so many. Next, I want to start grouping some of my thicker and fancier fabrics together. So we're going to get those all into one pile. When you start grouping your themed fabrics, I think this is a good time to also bring out your I'm gonna do list, because I think with themed fabrics like these, you really have something in mind that you might want to work on. So as you can see, packing these in really nicely. And another thing that you can do on your list is make a note that it is a large piece and it's stored in your bin or tote or drawer or wherever you decide to store your fabrics. So there's a few fabrics that I have a lot of, and you might have seen this one in this series already, but I've got a few of these fabrics that I have a lot of, so I'm just cutting those off and adding them to the excess pile. Next, moving into my white fabrics, grouping those off as well. And these here, I have a lot of these kinds of trimmed fabrics, so I'm just cutting off a bit and saving a little and putting the rest in the excess pile. These I will keep. And so here I have my floral fabric pile, excess pile, and you can see the large pile is gone. Yay! And we all have that in the bin, and there's even space to spare after I put my black fabrics in. So next, moving into the medium pile, and we are going to store those in this basket. With the medium fabrics, they're all fabrics that I plan to use as book covers. They can obviously be used for something else, but if I'm working on something and I know in my head that I want to make a fabric covered book, I can come here, and then I'm grouping these off into different groups. So starting from the top, I have neutrals, and then there's specialty, then floral. Then the bottom left, we have laces, and the middle pile is kind of like my fancy fabrics, and then the bottom right corner is themed fabrics. So now that we've taken the time to group these off by types, I think the best way for me is to tie a little string around them and keep them bundled together. At a glance, I'll be able to tell what fabric bundles are what. If you can't, you can also tie a little tag to each string, and that'll help identify easily what each bundle is. So lastly, we're going to just take our small fabrics and store them in this box and forget about them forever. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. We're going to put these in another little tote. And if you have seen my last video, I had a pink tote that had a bunch of excess stuff in it that needed a new home. Well, I did go in and I put all of those papers that I had in there in a new home, which frees up this little tote for me. And this is perfect for me for my small fabrics, because I'm going to be digging in this constantly, because I like to make little things with pieces of fabric like this. So I'm just going to toss all of these in here, and it's going to stay nice and tidy right under my desk. So here's what it kind of looks like. The large bin is going down in the garage. The medium one will be easily accessible for me to reach in, and the small one will be stored under my desk. And a moment of silence for these fabrics who are off to meet their maker. Storage of your batting depends on how much you use it, so you can use the best option for you. And in my fabric totes, I also found a bunch of lace, and we already know what to do with that, right? Because we've already organized our laces, right? And you can find some other cool things, like I found some cool socks. Surely I bought these for some reason. So that's going to wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned because you never know what direction this autoflock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.